What's this next job all about?
I need to find a saltpeter pit.
Never a wasted word, eh, Crazel?
Short and to the point. That's my credo.
And how long will it take before you tell me what a saltpeter pit is?
A saltpeter pit is a pit in which saltpeter is formed.
This has something to do with the alchemy of yours, eh? I don't know much about that stuff.
Nitra is saltpeter. White crystals similar to salt.
And what needs salting here in the mill? Or is it supposed to be some peculiar Crazel wedding gift for a young semi?
Nothing of the sort. The Kabbalistic doctrine speaks of saltpeter as a vessel for the inexhaustible essence of life. Those white crystals are said to contain the very essence of being. That's precisely what we need to give life to our golem. Thanks to the ingredients from Hermes Trismegistos, his feet will never get tired and his fists will have the power to smash rocks. But saltpeter is the most important thing. Saltpeter will be the golem's heart.
So you're serious about this golem? And are you certain it'll work out?
Certainly. Otherwise, I wouldn't even try.
How much saltpeter will it take to bring to life such a big creature?
A lot. That's why I want you to find me a decent saltpeter pit. Do you understand?
I was hoping I'd learn something useful from you. But instead, you're making me wander around the countryside looking for some pit.
Well, you never know when an experience like that might come in handy.
All right then. I'll look around for that saltpeter pit of yours. I just hope you know where to look, that you can point me in the right direction, and also that you'll get me into that wedding as a reward.
Yes, yes, and yes. Bonnie has a lead. She's a damned handy girl to have around. She can do anything you ask of her. But for you, the most important thing is that she knows how to look for niter, or saltpeter if you prefer.
So this Bonnie is some kind of witch who's in on this golem stuff.
Bonnie is someone I trust without question, and you should too. Not only will she teach you how to find saltpeter, but also how to differentiate it from common salt. The main difference is it has kind of cooling taste.
Hold your horses. You want me to taste that nasty stuff?
If you don't taste it, you could confuse it with some nasty rot. And you don't want that.
Damn right.
Don't be such a lily-liver, Henry. If Bonnie can taste saltpeter, so can you. She'll tell you the rest herself. You'll find her in the lair. That's a secret storage space I have here just by the pond. Only my best people can get in.
How can I get to this lair?
There's a bridge over the mill stream towards the southwest. Take the path to the left, just behind it along the pond. From that path, you turn right, uphill, between the rocks, and you'll find yourself right in front of the lair. You can't miss it. Oh, and so I don't forget. You could pick some herbs along the way to see Bonnie. It would make her very happy. She's just been through some tough times. Her dog died, and on top of that, she has to spend time with that blabbermouth, Zinnik. On the other hand, Zinnik might be holding his tongue for a while after his encounter with the Troskowitz stocks.
If Bonnie spends time with Zinnik, she may want some spirits rather than herbs.
Bonnie? Never. Being a decent Christian, she avoids alcohol like the plague. Run along, so you're back as soon as possible.
To the lair.
See you soon, my friend.
Good afternoon.
I'm Henry, Miller Crazel's new apprentice. He sent me to search for a niter pit, and said you might be able to help me with that.
Of course I will. I'm Bonnie. Nice to meet you.
Bonnie? It's not a name I hear often.
It's not the name I was baptized with. In our craft, it ain't a good idea to tell people your real name. That's why we use nicknames. What should we call you?
The Wolf of Skalitz.
Well, that's not very creative. You know what? I'll come up with a nickname for you myself when I get to know you better. Did you bring me something from the mill?
Actually, Crazel said you'd appreciate some herbs.
He's right there. Do you have some for me?
I'm sorry. I've got nothing for you.
I reckon I'll just have to scrape together the ingredients for that magic ritual myself.
What kind of magic ritual?
The kind where Zenek finally gets some sense into his head and stops making stupid beginner's mistakes. Just so you know, that mess with the author of Hermes Trismegistos would never have happened to me. Not me. While we're on the subject of rituals, did Crazel tell you about the golem?
He did.
And what do you think of it?
I'm curious to see what a golem made of flour will look like, but I'm mostly curious to see if Crazel will really be able to breathe life into it with the help of saltpeter.
I'm more worried that as soon as it comes to life, it'll slay us all with one blow. So, if by some chance it looks like something's going wrong, you won't see my heels for dust. And I suggest you do the same. But that's enough of that. We're not going to stand here talking about flower golems when we've barely just met. I'd like to chat with you too, Henry. Get to know you a bit. But if you're in a hurry to find Crazel's saltpeter, I won't keep you. About that saltpeter, before you came, and before Zenek fucked up with the manuscript, we collected saltpeter all over the place, mainly in sties. It has to be scraped from the walls. Horrible work, time-consuming and annoying. I'm not going to lie to you. We also looked in a few chests, just in case. You know. Anyhow, now all the sties in the region are scraped clean and we're sitting pretty on a nice barrel of saltpeter.
Barrel is quite a lot.
For the whole Trotsky region, aye. Unfortunately, Crazel said we need at least 6 times as much.
6 times? Will one saltpeter pit be enough?
I reckon so. There should be as much as Crazel needs for his masterwork. If you're looking for it, you ought to know how saltpeter forms. Do you have any idea?
No, I don't. And Crazel, of course, didn't tell me shit.
Don't forget that saltpeter crystals are formed in places where something is rotting. It can be shit or carcasses. Well, a saltpeter pit is actually nothing more than a mass grave. The best natural saltpeter maker.
Crazel said saltpeter is a vessel for life energy. I get it that it's left over from dead bodies, but how do you get it from shit?
God's mysterious ways. You know how it is.
And he also wanted me to taste it. That's nonsense, though, isn't it?
Unfortunately, it isn't. Otherwise, you won't know if it's saltpeter or some other shit. It feels kind of cold on the tongue.
Jesus. And you know where to look for such a pit full of carcasses, do you?
Not exactly, but I have an idea. Times are evil and there's plenty of corpses. A person who's digging holes and throwing dead bodies into them and doesn't even know he's got a gold, a saltpeter mine.
You mean a knacker?
Exactly. And the one we have here in the region is also the gravedigger.
Well, I haven't met him yet. Where can I find him?
The cemetery is beyond Troskovitz, towards the Apollonia rocks.
So I'm in for a walk to the cemetery.
Seems like it. Too bad you couldn't have walked around the county with us before. It was fun, and pretty useful experience. I learned a lot during that time, and I won't keep it to myself. I'd be happy to teach you something, if you want.
I'll keep that in mind.
That old gravedigger will be suspicious, so I'd bring him some kind of offering. He's always dragging those carcasses, so I'm sure he'd appreciate a slab of fresh meat from Troskovitz butcher.
Good idea.
He lives a short way from the cemetery, so at least the meat won't go bad on the way. Lots of luck, the Wolf of Scarlets. See you soon, my friend.
What can I do for you?
Show me your wares. A word about the price.
Sure. Aye, you're convinced me. Pleasure doing business. Take care.
Great.
I'm Henry. And you must be the local gravedigger, right?
Ignatius, master of the sod, at your service. Looking for a final resting place, are you? Or do you need to bury a dead goat?
Now, I'm more interested in the grave-digging profession as a whole.
Ah, once you try it, you'll never want to do nothing else till the day you die.
Ignatius, I'm gonna need your help.
Of course. How many are there? Where do you want to bury them? Shall we grind the teeth up, or do you want to take them away in your purse?
None of that. I have a different, slightly unusual request. Bonnie from Lower Semine sent me. We're looking for a saltpeter pit.
From Lower Semine? What pit?
A saltpeter pit.
I ain't never heard of nothing like that. What's it supposed to be? A pit to hell?
Nah, it's actually just a pit full of carcasses. These white crystals form on the walls of it. And that's exactly what we're after.
Ah, now I get it. You should have said you're looking for the pit I throw carcasses into. What's all this about Salty Peter? I'm going to go there anyway, so I'll take you there.
Really? That was easier than I thought.
Not even a chicken scratches in the dirt without hope of reward, though. You'll help me with something first. I have some collections from some Stratego farmsteads, and I'd be a fool if I didn't use a helping hand. At least one day I can take it a bit easy.
You want me to help you with your grave-digging business?
Why not? You look like a strong fella. You'll be a good helper.
I have a better idea. You tell me where I can find that pit, and I'll give you a nice piece of fresh meat for it.
I won't say no to that. Show me what you have. Oh, aye, fresh meat. What a feast that'll make. Now, listen closely. That pit of yours lies at the end of a long journey that we'll take together on my wagon.
So you got meat out of me for nothing?
When I see how much you lot in Lower Semine are interested in it, I'm not just going to hand it to you on a plate. But thanks for the meat, and don't worry about a thing. Grave digging is a job like any other. Sooner or later, everyone needs our services. And if it wasn't for us knackers, folk would have to deal with their animal carcasses themselves.
Of course, I understand. I'm just a little worried about what people will say about me when they see me with you. I wouldn't like to lose the honor I've earned as squire to a nobleman.
Don't worry about what people say. They'll only strip you of your honor if you let them. So what then? Shall we take a nice little ride with my boys Snorter and Dragonfly here? Nice and early, at daybreak.
Let's get this over with then.
Didn't you understand me? We ain't going nowhere now. Like I said, be here at daybreak. That's between night and day. Do you understand?
Is there some place I can wait for morning to come?
Of course, if you've got nothing better to do, you can sit here with me. If you know how to read, I have a book hidden in the outhouse I got of a dead fella. That'll make the time go faster. In fact, you can keep it. All I can do is admire all them fancy squiggles in it anyway.
And where can I sleep?
At the inn in Truskowitz. Get a good breakfast there, too. You'll need it to be at full strength. Here's a little something so you know I take care of my helpers. See you in the morning. Jesus Christ be praised.
I don't know if I'm completely ready for this. But let's get going.
The dew is still on the leaves. The roads are... You don't need your horse. I'll stable him here. It'll be heaven for him. In any case, heaven's always close here. Hop on the wagon and Snorter and Dragonfly here will take care of us. Now listen, Henry. Here on the left side, you'll see the ruins of a cottage that's been abandoned for a few years.
I can't see a thing through those bushes.
You'll go and have a close look. Don't worry. I have a trap set inside the cottage. I wanted to lure a wolf into it, but that didn't work out. There's a deer rotting there unnecessarily. So hop in there and bring it to the wagon. Finally, at least we're not blocking the road too much.
Oh, Jesus, what a stench. Better quickly throw it in a sack and take it back to the wagon.
enough already.
What do you mean already? What lackeys? I've no idea what you're on about, fella.
2 stinking bastards that was here sneaking around the stars a while ago.
Hey, we got another
I
one.
want to talk to you!
What's going on, Ignatius?
Ah, I'm trying to explain to these fellas we've got nothing to do with no thieving around here. They should go to Lower Samine to complain.
2 stinking pieces of shit was sneaking around our sties and cellars and lining their purses with silver too while they was at it. Some scruffy and dunger. You must be scruffy, eh?
I'm Henry, and those, names mean nothing to me.
Like I said, if it's rotten carrion they're after, they should have come to me. A passion for knacking is the only thing we have in common.
Is that so? So prove it then.
Take a good look at me. Do I look like a thief? Or more like a commonplace, maybe just slightly grubby, hired hand? At this rate, you could blame any old peasant who's grimy after a hard day's work.
I don't know. I don't reckon I've ever seen a real thief up close.
Ask around about me and you'll find out everyone knows I can't stand a liar. I'll keep my promises and show up on time. So enough talk and let's carry on to where duty calls us.
All right, listen. We'll be going then. But if you happen to run into them 2 thieves, you tell us right away. Got it?
Of course.
You can count on it.
Glad to hear it. Let's go, fellas. Maybe...
What's next? Are we going?
All right, I'll see what's going on there.
And I'm going to enjoy having a helper. At least for one day. Maybe I'll roll around in the grass here with Snorter and Dragonfly. Yeah! Yeah! All right.
Yeah. Ugh, and another.
Well, I wish you and your helper lots of luck today. May God bless you.
You too. You too. Greetings. Pigs are heavier than deer, eh?
Excuse me. Oh, you pooch.
Yeah. Ugh, and another.
What was I just thinking? Oh well.
What's next? Are we going?
I took care of the carcasses. We can drive on.
And what about this mysterious curse?
Oh, right. Slipped my mind. The watering spot, you said?
Aye. Take a look around. See if you find anything fishy.
Those pigs came here to drink. Where to now? I can smell something upstream.
Track!
Here it is. Wolves must have killed them. They didn't even eat them up. I'll go and tell Ignatius. It really wasn't a curse. There are rotting carcasses in the water upstream from the watering spot. No wonder the pigs caught some disease.
Well, what do you know? I was right. I'll give you a hand. It'd take you all night on your own.
I took care of the carcasses. We can drive on.
Nice work. There's even a bit of meat left for me.
Yeah, you'd eat that. They've been lying there God knows how long.
But nicely in the cold. There's nothing wrong with it. Anyway, you won't be eating it, so don't worry about it. Let's keep going. Lad, seeing as how you don't obey me, you're surely horsing around today. Yeah! Yeah!
Sakra! The dog isn't here. The door's open. Where did he run off to? Barking. He's coming from over there.
Henry, how come you're here?
Bonnie? What are you doing here?
What are you doing here?
The gravedigger wants me to poison that dog.
Jesus! And are you going to do it?
Well, what else can I do? You're the one who sent me to Ignatius. You just tactfully neglected to mention that when you and Zinnek were acting as his hands, you robbed half the houses in the county.
Shit. It's all gone sour.
This is all I have left to do before he takes me to the saltpeter pit.
And couldn't you find the pit without that? Just take a look at that poor creature. I'd like to keep him in place of my poor dead sniffer.
You surely know how to pick 'em. Your poor creature is terrorizing the whole area.
It's not the animal's fault. When Zenek and I were here last, I saw how old Vysarik treats him. He doesn't give him food, he abuses him. With a master like that, he won't last long. You wouldn't kill a dumb creature just because its master is a sick horseman, would you?
Well, you don't have to convince me. Ever since the gravedigger told me to do it, I've been trying to figure out how to save that dog. If you want to take him, I won't stop you.
You're a much better Christian than I thought you were. I'll take him to the lair. We'll meet there.
Hurry off now, before someone sees us together.
Come on now, boy. You'll like it in the lair.
Come here. It's taken care of.
Taken care of? What do you mean?
The dog is dead. So, can we go to the pit now?
Dead, eh? And what are you so nervous about?
Well, it wasn't pleasant to watch. I did it exactly how you told me. I poisoned him.
Oh, aye. And how did it go exactly?
Well, I dipped the meat in poison. He ate it, and peacefully departed to doggy heaven.
So, it all went how it should. I use a real strong mixture so the creatures don't suffer too much. He's done for, the beast. Finally. Let's go before we start looking suspicious.
So this is it. This is the pit.
Slowly, boy. Slowly. Have a bit of respect. Death always deserves respect, whether it's people or animals.
I was expecting some huge hole in the ground. This is just some hollow. 3 piles of earth and that's it.
3 huge piles, you mean to say? True, it used to be one big pit. But then I found out when you pile up carcasses in smaller pits and throw some wet hay between them, it all rots better. And the better it rots, the more nitre you'll have. Are you going to take some right away?
I won't. The miller will probably send some people here.
Well, they'd better not dig it all up. That'd disturb the natural balance, see? And soon they'll find out there's no place to find saltpeter.
Well, I reckon I'm delaying the inevitable. I'll still have to taste it.
You're going to taste it?
It's the only way I can be certain it really is saltpeter.
God's nails. And they say I'm disgusting. Wait a moment. I've got a reward for you. Just so's you don't think old Ignatius and his even older nags is ungrateful riffraff. Take it as a thanks for your help. Maybe you'll take over my trade one day when I'm pushing up daisies myself.
Who knows? Maybe that'll really be my fate. I'll live at the cemetery, build piles of carcasses, and eat bread with saltpeter.
Here's something that'll definitely come in handy if you ever need to go through all this again. Either with me or somewhere else.
Thanks.
Taste it then. Get to it. This I have got to see. You didn't have to make such a feast of it.
Look at me. I'm a Lord's messenger to a taster of cadavers. cold and salty. This must be it.
God be with you.
I found the place where we can harvest saltpeter. You just head out of Troskovitz towards Apollonia, carry on alongside the road, then head off it at the right spot. Only it's not a pit, it's 3 piles of earth. The gravedigger Ignatius drove me there himself.
And is it the real stuff? Did you taste it?
Yeah. And I hope I never have to do that again. Ugh. I think the experience has changed me forever.
Oh, come on. You whine more than Zinnik. It's just commonplace salt. I was hoping it'd be closer. To go all the way to Apollonia. If I send 2 wagons, that should be enough.
What should I do?
That means I could mix a barrel and a half.
Crazul, focus. What else do you need from me?
Oh, sorry. What were you asking? About a reward? It's right here.